At least 15 people have died in northern China from massive flooding. Thousands of homes were destroyed in Shanxi Province as that area now begins to recover. Our reporter Lucy Ray is live for us in Pingyao. So I understand the local government just held a news conference. What did they say?
Yes, Jonathan. So just as you mentioned, 15 people are killed in this natural disaster, and the authorities also say that around 2 million residents are affected by the flooding or the rain-induced disasters. And also, around 120,000 people have been evacuated, and the direct economic loss has reached 5 billion yuan. And this heavy rain have also caused the collapse of around 17,000 homes and varying degrees damages to around 190,000 hectares of autumn crops. And it also have caused the blackouts for 330,000 families, but most of them have recovered the use of electricity already. So in response to the disaster, local government, in fact, the Financial Emergency Management Ministries have already allocated around 80 million yuan, that's around $12 million, to aid the relief work in Shanxi Province, that's where I am now, and the nearby province, Shanxi Province. And in Shanxi Province, as you just mentioned before, the local government have already lowered the emergency response for natural disasters to its lowest level as the rain stopped. And also they are ramping up their efforts to reduce the damages to the crops and also prevent other flood-related epidemics. Right now, it is also reported that the farmers will face grim difficulties in harvest the autumn crops and to plant wheat for winter, because another 2 rounds of rainfalls are forecasted in another 10 days. But in many other places in Shanxi Province, people's life have returned to normal, as in Pingyao, where I am now. This city is hosting a movie festival, in fact, and so the transportation, accommodation, and electricity use around this area have already returned to normal. As to the ancient wall, the inner wall section of the ancient town that previously collapsed, last week collapsed because of the rainfall, its repair work is still underway. And as to the residential area that's been flooded because of this rainfall around this ancient town, experts told me their repair work will be more challenging than any other places because they are not simple residential areas. They are also part of the cultural relics. Jonathan.
Yeah, historic area there. Looks like a long recovery for some folks there. Our Lucy Ray live for us in Shanxi Province. Thank you. Well, from all this, let's get over to Wang Tianyin from the China Meteorological Administration. So help us understand just how severe are these storms we're seeing in northern China.
Hello, Jonathan. Well, actually, unseasonably heavy rain pummeled much of northern China early October, and for the locations shaded in dark blue, all received excessive amounts of rain, which is about 4 times larger than the average amounts during the period from the 2nd till the 6th of October, and among which Shanxi and Shanxi witnessed the worst situation with numerous amounts of record-breaking rain. For example, here in Taiyuan, the provincial capital of Shanxi Province, the total amounts of rain from 2nd till the 6th of October was about 203 millimeters, and this number is even about 50 millimeters larger than the previous record of its monthly precipitation. So why the rain has been so heavy? And there are 2 major weather systems causing this round of unprecedentedly heavy rain: the cold air and the subtropical high. And both of these 2 systems are way stronger than what they should be at this time of year. So the clash between the cold air and the warm moisture from the subtropical high could unleash plenty of moisture filling in between of these 2 systems. So that's why there has been relentless rain from Sichuan all the way up through into the northeast for the past dozen of days. Well, over the next couple of days, good to know is that clear skies finally return here for much much of northern China. However, the situation is that the ground has already been saturated, so the situation will remain pretty dangerous. So please take necessary precaution to stay safe. Back to you.
Yeah, good advice there. So lots of rain in the north, but also in the south of China where there is a typhoon headed. It's what, the second cyclone to hit that area in just 3 days. So what's going on down there?
Okay, actually the 18th typhoon so far this year over the northwest Pacific Ocean, TYPHOON, already strengthened into a severe tropical storm. And it is likely to move towards the west by north direction in the coming days. And the landfall is expected somewhere between Wenchang and Sanya in Hainan Province during the late hours on Wednesday. And under its influence, the damaging winds will be the top concern for the following 24 hours, and typhoon yellow alert has been issued. For all of these color-shaded areas, we'll see windy gusts above 6 gale-force, and for several locations, we'll even see the windy gusts up to 10 or even above 11 gale-force. To please be sure to stay safe. In the meantime, typhoon-related soaking rain will also batter quite a lot of locations in the southeast coastal regions of China for over the next couple of days. And heavy to torrential, if not extremely torrential amount of rain will spread in from Taiwan eastward into parts of Zhejiang, Fujian, Guangdong, as well as Hainan from today till tomorrow. And by Thursday, the situation is going to improve quite a lot as TYPHOON is about to move onshore into parts of Indochina Peninsula. However, as Hainan, just as what you have mentioned before, was just battered by the 17th typhoon so far this year, Lion Rock, so the risks of geological disasters will be pretty high. So please be sure to stay safe. Back to you.
It's been a wet recent few weeks. Okay, Wang Tinyin speaking to us with China's Meteorological Administration. Thank you. China's National Development and Reform Commission says all industrial and commercial users will need to buy electricity at market prices. At a press conference on Tuesday, the Commission announced the scope of the float price will be expanded to 20% from the current 10 to 15%. Coal-fired power accounted for more than 70% of market electricity last year. The Commission says surging global energy prices are severely affecting China's power supply, and that market-based reforms will help stabilize the industry. So to help us better understand this, we are now joined by Professor Linbo Qiang, Dean of the China Institute for Studies in Energy Policy from Xiamen University. Professor, good to have you with us on the show. So help us understand what we're talking about here. This news conference came out this morning, obviously in response to the power shortages and outages across much of China. Does this mean that energy prices are going up?
Yeah, it looks like it. Internationally, energy prices already go up substantially. And in China, even though the electricity price had not really moved, because reform just announced. But the coal price increases substantially. Gas and oil prices follow international prices, so it has been going up accordingly. But the coal price in China this year is record high. So this is due to because of the coal supply, the electricity demand increased substantially in the first 8 months, about 14%. That haven't happened for the recent year or for many, many years. But the supply did not really catch up. The coal, and one of the reasons is the coal supply is kind of tight due to the situation that if the coal price increase substantially, electricity price could not increase. Then the electricity companies suffer huge loss. They might have financial problem buying coal, or you cannot buy the coal. So in fact, the China overall system, as you mentioned earlier, coal-fired power plant is roughly 70% of the total electricity supply. And the capacity is there. This year, I look at it, it's about 4,500 hours. In theory, this system is easier, can produce 5,500 hours. So that means there's enough capacity. The problem is the coal. It's the coal prices. So that's why there's a reform. But you might want to look at the reform carefully. This time reform, in fact, is a major step toward the market. The reason for that is they move in all the coal-fired power plants to the market. And that's not the most important. The most important is that they do not put a limit on the electricity price, on the heavy industry, or what we call the energy-intensive industry. The industry is roughly 5 or 6 subsectors consume 40 to 45% of China's electricity. So if the electricity price for this sector will go up substantially, then they will reduce their production, reduce their demand. So we are going to see the demand and supply balance very quickly, because China, on the other hand, is encouraging the coal production right now.
And you know, Professor, we just talked about the heavy rain and flooding in northern China. That's a big coal-producing area. It has had an impact on several coal mines there. So do you think that the storms and what we're seeing up there in northern China is going to have an impact on energy supply?
Oh, certainly. It has an impact, and it's already reflected in the coal prices last few days. Shanxi Province is one of the major provinces in the coal, producing coal. Is roughly 25% of it, producing more than 1 billion tons of coal. But according to the reports, I look at report, follow very carefully. Shanxi Province total has 670 coal mines, and 60 was affected. And according to the report, those 60 are not the major ones. So I will assume that yes, there will be particular impact on the market expectations. But in reality, that because the recovery is quickly, and also that I will assume that percentage is pretty small, 5-6%, something like that. So I do not believe that this will have huge impact on the overall coal supply. As I mentioned, that Inner Mongolia can produce more coal, and also that Shanxi recover very quickly. I think the major problem for me right now is transportation. How can we ensure enough sufficient transportation to move the coal to the places where it needed? That will solve the short-run problem from supply side. From demand side, if the energy-intensive industry demand can go down, then we can see the balance very quickly.
All right, Professor Lin Boqiang helping us understand it from Xiamen University. Thank you.